video is intended to describe a stationary lightblade dreamcatcher named Terra Nueva, aka New Earth. Joining me today on my crystalline tour will be my whimsical stick figure chakra map, which I'll utilize for visual guide reference stimulation Q, corresponding with the device. And let's get into it. So around the entirety of the perimeter of this device is what is referred to as the transmutation ratio, igniting with hematite and smoky quartz, completing a circumference seen like so to have a perimeter engagement sequence of perpetual recirculated energy. And the reason it's called the transmutation ratio is based off this little dissertation right now. Starting off with hematite being a very strong iron-based mineral that works very effectively to take all excess radial stray energies, firmly grounded through the root chakra, grounded into the earth stars, into the earth meridian matrix for reprocessing. As well as it's a very fantastic aid to take all other frequencies in a closed loop circuit and ensure the high firm grounding of pulling all stray energies through the root into the earth, which is of course a great foundational asset for virtually all light tech of all varieties for many purposes of A, to tangibilize the magic, as well as being another way to ensure the contact patch of any other intended vibratory output has a firm tangibility anchor into earth to be a very powerful way to, of course, reprocess energy for energetic dialysis to recirculate firmly into earth for constant reprocessing. In tandem with smoky quartz, performing much the same vibratory stimulation pathway engagement like hematite, it also grounds all excess energy very firmly through the root, into the earth stars, into earth meridian matrix for reprocessing. So the two together are what I consider the transmutation ratio to be a very perpetual strong anchorage grounding of excess energy that is by itself quite effective for just purifying the field by firmly grounding Mother Earth by itself to transmute negativity into positivity. As well as, like I mentioned, it also works as a great scaffolding foundation for any other frequencies of exotic nature, such as this power pack, to firmly ground the excess energy into the earth, which is the whole prerogative is tangibility here. And so on the back side of this lovely dreamcatcher, which of course actually is handcrafted by a Navajo artist I have access to here in my town of Mount Shasta, thank goodness. So this is definitely an authentic Southwestern native production, not from Temu, not from China. So we have the authenticity of First Nation craftsmanship as the foundation, which is pretty spectacular, for the functional purpose of filtering dreams and being a very powerful homage to that medicine as the foundational base, which now has been highly exotically augmented with modernized crystalline circuitry check that is my life's work. So on the very backside of this apex right here is obviously an amethyst pyramid that has now been suspended and engaged and wired into the primary wire that looks like a spiral going like so for an apex focus of energy. So the backside of this power pack of the New Earth portal, which I'll save for last because it'll be the most comprehensive of the dissertations in this little segment video. But the big idea of having the amethyst, which is the classic common violet ray crown chakra stimulant that's very effective for clearing the 6th and 7th chakras from any debris of negativity, particularly in mental sphere thought patterns, and being a very powerful divine connection point to one's Godhead through the higher chakras, all the way back to one's source connection as another agent to promote two-way conscious self perception with the higher self and conscious self made aligned, quite simply. As well as being a very fantastic high-frequency transmutation of negativity into positivity by high-frequency divine induction. So obviously the context of this being a very high transmutation of divine spiritual resonance with the grounding capacity brings the whole entire of the device into firmly grounded through the physical range into Earth for the two-way connection of maximum transmutation potentiality, which is, in theory, very advantageous to be suspended in a room when you're sleeping to catch those dreams. To be quite simple. Okay, now it's time for the big meat of the device and the whole reason for the season, why this guy indeed is named Terra Nueva, New Earth. So, at this time, there are actually quite a few of these Terra Nueva constructs in distribution performing admirably. And so this is another rendition of, actually this would be the second Dreamcatcher stationary mount in existence thus far. So this would be the second Terra Nueva stationary mount Dreamcatcher platform now in operational status. And so, without further ado, the big aspect of the New Earth Portal Terra Nueva prerogative was the certain stones that are contingent to honor that archetypal concept in vibrational engineering. I'll go ahead and start off with the primary blade banding seen around here, starting off with moss green agate. Moss green agate is a green ray stabilizer of the physical heart chakra in the most terrestrial sense, and so obviously the advantageous nature of having an impeccable, most stable vibration of the heart chakra green ray in the mineral kingdom is to indeed stabilize the physical heart, as well as the heart chakra epicenter, particularly in the green focus, which is the terrestrial heart chakra of the more physical range. And so why that's important, obviously the heart is the governance of circulation for our physical bodies, naturally through blood flow, as well as energetic circulation as well, simultaneously. So to have that stabilized to the impeccable manner is the foundation of a stabilized new earth portal. And to complete the sequence would be a clear quartz specimen to be a neutral energy resonance subcapacitation agent to run the current into moss green agate once again, to be a neutral accelerant, then into moss green agate, then into rutilated quartz, which is actually bands of titanium rutile inside the quartz, which works as a massive supercharger accelerant of other frequencies. So obviously the advantageous of dramatically intensifying the stabilization of the physical heart is its own merit to dramatically intensify the output of the most stabilized, I can't say that enough because that's a big prerogative here, heart chakra in the mineral kingdom in the terrestrial green ray setting of water. Clear quartz, then so on, completing its circuit going into here. And the big aspect of what is very important for the New Earth Portal that is quite contingent for its successful functionality in terms of vibratory output would be the employment of golden healer quartz. And this lovely specimen is actually shaped into an angel, which is very, very much in resonance with the recipient of this device, of that of this seraphic angelic realm, as a primary sponsorship for his sorcery, if you would. So the big aspect right there, why that's so critical, is that golden healer quartz by itself is a very impeccable high heart, gold white light, source energy alignment connection to the heart of creation. So obviously that's a pretty bold statement to make when it comes to endeavors of vibrational engineering. And so that kind of direct shot frequency resonance to the source of creation, obviously in metaphysical application of vibrational engineering would be irreplaceable. To have a direct shot to the source of creation is really, really the whole prerogative here. And so why that's so important to have that heavy concentration of golden healer quartz particularly, is that the New Earth Portal, like I mentioned, is very contingent on the stabilizing of the physical heart with the source energy and high overture vibrating in tandem to bring that source energy in alignment to the most stabilized transference in the mineral kingdom of the terrestrial heart to make the source and earth, new earth portal, to have that source energy go through the circulation of the physical heart, transfer into the tangible range, to make indeed the magic real, which could almost be denoted to a holy grail concept of source alignment and impeccability in the most stable fashion possible, which is the foundation of Terra Nueva. So, and of course, to further augment this little power pack that's been mounted to this dreamcatcher would be a few different frequencies of choice design, such as a lovely quartz specimen seen right here to be the neutral program carrier charge of this entire device. That, of course, works in tandem with the other components of clear quartz here to be a neutral accelerant ambient energy intensifier. Then at the very top right here, to further promote soothing vibrations as a effective space balm, as in like B-A-L-M, not bomb. I had to be very clear there, to be a very soothing influence, would be Larimar. Larimar is a fantastic 5th and 6th chakra stimulant, combining the aspects of fire and water to bring extreme soothing energies, oasis of calm that's very advantageous for being in one's truth in a very calm, higher perspective, which of course is very conducive to a serene vibration through the entire space. Then beneath that is the lovely seraphinite. Seraphinite is an incredible green ray stone named after these seraphim archangels that has become quite the staple in my life's work for very good reason, as being a tremendous seraphic imbuement master healer. Seraphonite, being a green ray stone, obviously has heart chakra connotations, yet Seraphonite's great miracle stimulation is actually unifying the entire light body field, stimulating from top to bottom through the entirety of the auric field to the highest configuration, and works very gently but very powerfully to dismantle patterns of dis-ease from all the chakra centers of the entire auric field from top to bottom, with heavy seraphic influence imbuement at the atomical structure. So that right there is a quintessential master healer that I employ quite religiously, like I mentioned, for that distinct purpose. So of course, by having that seraphic frequency of these amazing source entities close to source of the seraphic realm, in tandem with a homage to a seraphic carved golden healer quartz, would in theory give a very nice straight shot to the archangelic realms in a frequency broadcast in a 3D apparatus, or third dimensional apparatus, if you would, like an attunement. Ooh, there goes my description pen. So that's a big aspect right there. And so the wooden core itself actually is from my favorite tree in Sedona, Arizona, that being of a juniper in my favorite vortice between Bell Rock and Courthouse Mesa. So the core of this device is indeed from Sedona, Arizona, which is a very powerful place in the earth for high frequency healing and as well as a place of great legend. So a little piece of Sedona energy, of course, will be going is the foundation of this entire power pack, as the wood range seen right here is the core of the device. Then, the exclusive utilization of black kyanite seen here and here is for a distinct purpose. Black kyanite, or kyanites for that matter in general, are the most rapid transfers of energy in the mineral kingdom, but black has been exclusively utilized for the capacity to take this entire overture pitch in a space, particularly suspended in a room, while sleeping obviously is designed, to take the excess pitch and make sure that the excess overture of this energy consistently unfiltered, it does not maintain stagnant energies, to ground the energy very rapidly through the root into the earth stars, into the earth for processing to further tangibilize and insulate the field at a constant ratio that will never actually become stagnant and require recharging by themselves. Very fun fact about kyanite, they move so quickly that they are virtually indeterminable with negative vibrations to complete their functional platform. Something I probably do not describe nearly enough in lightblade videos, but this time I guess I was compelled to say so. And so last but not least, as a summary of this 12.5-minute rant, would be the employment of selenite. So selenite is an absolute must-have staple in all of devices that pass through my hands into distribution that be considered my life's work for a distinct purpose. Selenite by itself is a very fantastic 6th, 7th, and 8th, and then all the non-physical chakras indisputably in the mineral kingdom to one's godhead. So you can think of that as a very powerful high-frequency spiritual induction to bring the conscious self in alignment and clear off the debris that interfere with one's Godhead highest self-perception in a two-way broadcast, which is a big prerogative of spirit tools, is to, of course, empower those who serve creation. So that's why it's a staple foundation to give authentic connection to their divinity, so they can get out there and give them heaven. To be quite frank and kind of silly about the subject while maintaining a serious demeanor. And so the aspect also with selenite, being such a high-frequency induction broadcast, it also cleans off the debris between these and of course also burns off stagnant patterns for the entire auric field from top to bottom of lower frequency densities, which by itself can be quite the tremendous master healer. But here's the big kicker that I'm always save for last as a good comprehensive capstone, is that all these frequencies mentioned in this closed loop construct, mentioned in close to 14 minutes now, it can take all of them in a closed loop reactive circuit, all these frequencies. It can purify all of them perpetually, which is very nice. It can also intensify or amplify the entire frequency pitch. Then it also works to harmonize and bring equilibrium to the entire frequency pitch as well. So obviously that triumphant trifecta of purification, amplification, and harmonization is the criticality of a dynamic functional spirit tool, in my humble opinion. At least that's my statement of my life's work I will make public right there in this video. And that would be it. So the big idea, in summary, is that this Terra Nueva Dreamcatcher is designed to be suspended in the room to promote a very purified, stabilized source energy alignment that can clear off dark debris with the amethyst focus on the back end right here. So obviously taking the pyramidal focus of this entire design, of this power pack right there, and then running on a spiral also takes the excess radial focus of the closed loop circuit and gives it a massive apex broadcast sharp point of the amethyst purification through the space at a consistent ratio, which is very advantageous for clearing off negative stagnant energies, as well as literally being incompatible with darkness of that capacity, of that high frequency focus overture being on the back side of the dreamcatcher to focus the purification of the violet flame, if you would. With the transmutation perimeter to ensure that the excess energy is consistently reprocessing and clearing at a consistent ratio for the space for optimal energy configuration for the entire room so that one can rest at ease. Is the big idea and prerogative of this stationary mount suspended on an authentic native dreamcatcher, which is a pretty cool touch. So that would be it. So of course, this is quite the dynamic little powerhouse for what it is, kind of thing. So in summary, this is designed to bring a very powerful source alignment stabilization. Most importantly, stabilization is everything here, because just like a racing analogy I overutilize is that smooth is fast and fast is smooth. Oh, sorry, slow is smooth and smooth is fast is a big prerogative of this platform right here to indeed bring the stability of the source energy into tangible range and ground it through at a perpetual rate is the big initiative and intention that's rather ambitious of the Terra Nueva constructs thus far. And so having this little guy in a room will be a very powerful, soothing, higher self frequency alignment, that of a Holy Grail generator-esque, if you would, to bring great peace of heart and mind through that process, to bring one's connection into their true dharmic nature at the obvious forefront of the conscious self while they sleep. Quite simply, that's the big idea. Which should be very advantageous for proper dream time, all the things like that is the big prerogative of these constructs. And so far, the first renditions performed, like I mentioned, very admirably. So, in theory, this being the second device of the platform should generate tremendous vibrational compound interest on an already winning successful platform in distribution, like satellites pinging off each other to generate vibrational compound interest of this mainframe. Well, that would be it. 1,000 blessings, and may the Force be with us all.